Hi, I'm Cailey, a librarian here at Mentor Public Library.
And I'm Meg, and welcome to this week's edition of All Booked Up with Cailey and Meg, where each week we give you different book recommendations related to a specific theme. Well, this week's theme should be pretty obvious. Happy Halloween. We are going to do Halloween Freebies, our theme this week. And basically, we're going to cover any book that gives us Halloween vibes, all those spooky chills. So that's what we're going to be going over today. And we're in the spirit of Halloween. Instead of Meg, I'm Spider-Gwen today. And who are you this week, Cailey?
I am a suffragette woman because voting is very important.
Yes, absolutely.
And all of the books that we talk about today are available for you through the library or on Hoopla and Libby digitally for free with your library card.
Absolutely.
So, Meg, what is your first freebie?
Yes, my first freebie book is called Missing Season by Gillian French. So this one came out last Halloween season, and it's a classic monster story. It's about a young girl named Clara Morrison, and her whole childhood she's moved from town to town. So this time she's in a little New England town called Pender, and she's the new kid in town. And the first thing she hears from the guidance counselor at her school is things may seem a bit off because a recent student just died in a very mysterious way. So right off the bat, she's like, this is an interesting place. The official story is that drugs killed this student, but the local skater kids have a different theory. They believe that it was the mysterious monster called the Mumbler. And the Mumbler is very notorious in this town because every Halloween, a local kid goes missing on Halloween night. And they attribute this to the Mumbler who lives in the nearby swamp. So everybody's talking about that this is the real reason the kid went missing, but it's not just any kid that goes missing. It's always a kid who's quote unquote troublesome. So always a kid who has a sketchy past, or they're perceived to be doing something wrong. So the reason Clara gets so nervous is because she's afraid that with her past, the little mysterious past that she has, that she may be the next one. So it's kind of a fast pace. I like it because it's thrilling and, it's got that scary part, but it's not too bad. It's not too scary. So it's a nice mix of, you get your little Halloween vibes, but it's not like terrifying, like the horror we did last week, but still interesting and mysterious. So that's exciting.
That sounds good. I like that it's a sort of different take on a boogeyman kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Well, my first book is actually a graphic novel. It came out last year, called Mooncakes by Suzanne Walker, illustrated by Wendy. And this one is about a witch and a werewolf. So Nova is an unusual young woman. She lives above her grandmother's bookstore where she works, but this is not your average bookstore. There is a special magical collection in it because Nova is a witch, as are her grandmothers. And a part of that is keeping an eye on the weird things in town, like the strange green glow coming from the woods and the sightings of a large white wolf. Nova kind of goes into investigator mode to find out what's going on. When she goes into the woods, she is shocked to discover that this wolf is none other than her childhood friend, Tam, who is a werewolf. And the green glow is much more sinister than anything that she has encountered before. So together, Nova and Tam begin looking into how to tackle this big bad that they've found. And they have a little help from Nova's grandmothers, as well as Nova's non-magical but very supportive BFF, Tatiana. And they hope to get to the bottom of this mystery of how did this demon in the woods get there? What does it want? Why did it manifest as a horse? Big questions. But also, can Tam tap into her magical werewolf powers in order to help fight it? And this book is very fast paced, very cute as well, just because it's kind of sweet, kind of seeing the characters figure out their friendship and their powers together, basically. It's interesting because the characters in this book are sort of in that new adult age, like post high school, but not necessarily college, kind of, I guess they would be of college age, but around there. And they're just kind of trying to figure things out. Nova is struggling with what she should do next in her witch training. Tam feels like there's no place that is home. Another thing that's I was very impressed with is that this book features a hearing impaired main character in Nova, and that's not something that you often see, especially in supernatural type books, and especially in the case of this, where it's really not a huge deal. It's not the point of the story, certainly. And it's also something that is brought up casually among the friends and family, as someone with hearing aids would have happen on the regular. And it's also really cool just because it kind of mingles those witch stories and tales with the werewolf idea and gives you that like sort of spooky Halloween vibe, especially as they're going after whatever it is that is haunting their woods.
Man, that sounds like a gripping one. I love that. And I love the graphic novels. As you know, we're both huge fans of graphic novels. And I think that sounds like a great one too. Mine is actually, I also did a graphic novel.
Yeah, and we didn't even plan that.
Didn't even plan it. This is just us working magically. So mine is called Swamp Thing by Megan Stiefvater and illustrated by Morgan Beem. And this one just came out this fall. And it's another one, I did Raven a couple weeks back. It's the same line where it's kind of mixing the action superhero world with kind of the monster science fiction world, which I think is perfect for this time of year. So it's about two twins named Walker and Alex, and they're identical twins, but they're about as different as two twins could be. So Walker is very outgoing and gregarious, life of the party. Alec is a little more introverted. He prefers to experiment with his plants, and he actually considers his plants more of his friends than, people really. So they're very different, but they love each other. Like, so Walker will try and include Alec in all of, his parties and things, but they're just different. And that's interesting for one thing. But then one summer in Virginia, they're visiting their cousins, and Alec just begins to get more and more engrossed in his plant experiments. So his main thesis as he's working with his plants is that consciousness is separate from the body, and that your consciousness only resides in your body, and it can like move to other places. And he's trying to prove this with the plants. But then things begin to happen that maybe he didn't quite anticipate. So it begins to have strange effects on his body, all his plant experiments, mixed kind of dangerously with his diabetes. So there's kind of a health risk as well. So it's kind of interesting to see. It reminds me a little bit of like Frankenstein and those classic, Halloween stories of transformation, and how does that impact the relationship between Alec and Walker as well. So that one I really like. It's mainly a green color palette, which I like, kind of like how Raven was mainly purple, and then there's just little occasional, bursts of color. So I think that it adds to the mysterious atmosphere of the book, perfect for Halloween. So
Excellent. That sounds really cool. I like the idea of the science kind of mingling with the magic sort of gone wrong kind of thing. So my last book is actually a classic. I am going to tell you a little bit about We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. So when it comes to Shirley Jackson books, this may not be the one that you'd think of as being super creepy, Haunting of Hill House, but it's up there as being definitely a creepy one by her. And We Have Always Lived in the Castle, Mary Catherine, who goes by Mary Cat, lives with her sister Constance and her uncle Julian in their family home. The rest of their family is dead. The Blackwood family suffered a terrible tragedy 6 years ago when half of them were poisoned by arsenic in their food. Since then, the remaining Blackwoods are basically outcasts by the town, who don't trust them and are suspicious of what happened that fateful night and who was responsible.
yeah.
Constance basically never leaves the house. She cares for Mary Cat and their uncle, who appears to have had physical and mental regressions due to that poison. The Blackwoods thrive on their routine, staying hidden from the people of the town who scorn them. So when an unexpected distant family member comes into town, it sort of upends the relatively calm life that they've been leading with disastrous results.
Ooh.
The entire novel is like shrouded with this air of unease, and there's the mystery of what occurred 6 years back, as well as this building tension, knowing that something big and bad is coming. This is not a ghost story, but it's a terrifying psychological tale that puts you inside an unreliable narrator's head and shows you what fear of the unknown or what's different can make people do. It's quick, it's creepy, and it is definitely memorable. It's perfect for Halloween. I was really excited to see that last year a film was made of this, and it held up pretty well.
Oh, cool. Man, I love classics, and that is one I have never read. So, and the way you just, I know, I gotta pick it up. And yeah, and that is genuinely mysterious. Like I have no idea where that could go. So you
Yeah,
really have
and
me.
the cover of the book is just really creepy too. Like especially the newer edition, the cover is just
Yeah.
gives you
Oh
that
man.
something weird's going on kind of vibe.
Yeah. Wow. Great recommendation, Kaylee. That sounds good. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for our special Halloween edition of All Booked Up with Cailey and Meg. We hope you have a great Halloween. Next week, when we rejoin, we're actually going to be looking at teen series. So, in the teen world, books, series are a big thing. There's oftentimes three, four, and if it's really popular, even more books all following one big overarching story. So we're going to look at some of the coolest ones that we've enjoyed over the years.
Mhm.
Um, and otherwise, have a happy Halloween.
Yes, I think that should be a fun topic next week, especially because I have read many of those teen series, and I'm sure lots of them people know about, but I'm sure that we can share a few that you haven't heard of.
Yeah, we'll get you.
Yes. So all of the books we've talked about today will be available for you at the library physically or digitally. So hopefully you'll be able to pick one of these up and get a quick scare for this Halloween. Happy reading!